Hi, this is Mike Ross, public address announcer for your Toronto Maple Leafs, and this is the Leafs Late Night Podcast, your post-game destination. And now, your starting lineup: Roscoe, the Fanalist, Southey, Biehner, and Darty Brodeur on the Leafs Late Night Podcast.
Heyo, let's go. Welcome back to Leafs Late Night. It's been a while. Apologies for that, but we're going to say American Thanksgiving was our vacation because we have not taken a break since the Leafs lost in the playoffs. So we needed a little one, I guess. So welcome back to Leafs Late Night, where it's never too late for the Leafs. I'm your host, Roscoe, joined by Biehner, and a special guest today, Mikey D from the BeLeafers podcast. Mikey, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good after, 4-2 win and a couple, in the words of the late, great Mr. Leahy, a couple of drinky poops.
Couple of drinky poops.
One for the liquor.
Yeah, and we'll pour one out for the late Leahy. May he rest in peace. So, as I mentioned, it's been a couple games, and the Leafs haven't lost yet. We got a 4-game winning streak going. And not only that, Mitch Marner... No kidding. Mitch Marner's on a 17-game point streak.
After tonight?
What does that put him? One away from the Leaf record of 18, Biehner?
Yeah, it should be 18 with Eddie O and Daryl Sittler.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure two of them tied for that. So, one more puts Mitch Marner in the ranks. What do we think? So let's start off with let's do it right out of the gate. Belief or disbelief? Leafs at Sharks on Wednesday. Do we think Mitch Marner is going to tie it?
I believe he'll break it, and he'll get a Hattie along the way.
Oh, baby. So, you think it's going to come the next game against the Sharks? We got the Lightning and Stars next up. So two tougher teams, tougher goalies after that. But I think if he's going to tie it, the Sharks look like a good game to do it.
I mean, it's funny with the Sharks because, they're in such of a tear-down season. They're way out of the picture. Even though they had the Leafs number last time, the Leafs have looked a lot better as of lately, which is a better reason to believe. And not only that, but going into tonight's game, Marner had said he put Z on his stick for his dog Zeus. And as a dog father myself, that's a reason to believe that I thought he was going to have a 3-point night, but it was still nice to see that he got on the scoreboard. But there's something about, the way that the Leafs have played recently, and then especially where the Sharks are. Also, side note, the Leafs are going to be wearing their reverse retros against the Sharks, which I thought was weird because they should have worn them tonight. For a jersey that's based on a 62 jersey, they should have worn them against an original 16.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh, Biehner, you're muted there.
Sorry, it would have been the Red Wings choice because it's in Detroit, right? And with theirs ugly wish.com or wish.ca jerseys, there was no way the Leafs were going to wear their retro ones as well. But if they're wearing them against the Sharks, maybe we'll get to see the California Seals jerseys from the Sharks. Maybe it'll be a full retro night. That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, because the Leafs reverse retro this year is a home jersey, so they couldn't wear it against Detroit with their home jerseys. But the Sharks is a white one, so I think that's possible. And those ones are so sick. Oh, my God.
I still think they should have done the white skates, man. That would have been perfect.
Go all out.
So, Biehner, what do you think? Belief or disbelief? Marner is going to tie this next game against the San Jose Sharks?
Absolutely. He's been just on fire, and the whole team has really been clicking ever since the Borje news. Really, terrible, thing that's happened mid-season here. But it looks like it might have been that one final galvanizing piece that has really kind of brought the team together. Because you clearly saw how it affected Nylander, especially, and then Sandin as well. Because Sandin's dad was a big-time fan of him.
Yeah, I guess we haven't recorded since that happened, unfortunately. As most of, if not all of Leafs Nation knows by now, we lost Borje Shirts after a very, very quick battle with ALS, unfortunately. So, hey, you want to show off the shirt you're wearing tonight? Biehner, we're on video, you might as well. Look at that. Borje the King. So if you want to get yours, you can go ahead and pick one up. We've had the link in the description of our videos from Flo Jurgensen. And all the proceeds go to ALS Canada, I believe.
It does,
I believe
yeah.
so. There's actually a sale on right now, I think 30% off of everything. So everything I've ever ordered from the guy has just been absolutely incredible. He's got great designs. Definitely check him out, even if you just want to browse right now. But he's got a handful of different designs, and it's all great. You can do
The
t-shirts,
Poppy
hoodies.
34 is my favorite design of his.
Yeah, I've got one of those as well. This is like a baseball tee, so 3/4 sleeve, right? You can get pretty much anything you want. It's pretty sweet.
Nice. Okay, so I'm going to agree with you guys. I think Marner's going to keep this going. I think it'll be interesting to see if he breaks it, because it's going to be against the Lightning. Yes, they're not the same Lightning they've been in, like, their regular season. I don't know if they're just taking a back seat or they're actually kind of slowing down, but whatever it is, they're still the Lightning, and it's not
They can turn it
shoe
on
in
like
that he's going to
nothing.
break it, you know? Exactly, right? Like, especially against the Leafs, they're not going to be sleeping, so...
If anything, I'd be more worried about the Lightning come March or April, but I will still believe.
Okay, so...
Really feeling the drinks right now.
Before we get on to tonight's game against the Red Wings, so there was obviously some backlash to the Maple Leafs Devils goals called back. And instead of things cooling down because the next game had nothing to talk about, the next game had a lot to talk about on the Leafs side. More controversy as Matt Murray knocks the net off not once, not twice, but 3 times, to which Twitter had a resounding cheater. So, Biehner, what do you think? You're a goalie.
So after the first one, Mike McKenna put out, I don't know if anybody's ever heard, career, I'd say backup goalie. He played a lot in the AHL. He bounced around a little bit, right? Decent goalie, obviously better than any of us because he made it. He put out a little thread on Twitter talking about it. Like, it's especially in the Devils game, it's not Murray's fault because like the crew had to come out and fix the marsh bags. Even I think it was the Pittsburgh game, they had to do that as well. Like they had to come out with the drills, the torches to melt the ice to get the marsh pegs back in there properly. Because each arena has different crews that do it, obviously, and not everybody does it the same. It's a very poorly designed system. And basically, as soon as they came up with this over the old steel pegs, they're like, oh, yep, it's good, done. And nobody's looked into it since, so it hasn't been updated. Murray's 6'5". 6'4", 6'5". Like he's a big guy.
Yes, yeah.
And in some of these instances, he's pushing off, legitimately trying to make a save. Now, he's kind of flirting with disaster a little bit because a lot of times if you watch the replay, as he's coming over, he'll be sliding from left to right. He'll legitimately hit it with his pad, so it looks fine. But then just to make sure, he kind of throws the chicken wing elbow up. So I think it's a little bit of a mix of both. You know, I don't want to say veteran savvy, because if it was veteran savvy, I think he'd be doing it a little more nonchalantly. But yeah, there's a little bit of both here. But he's walking on thin ice because, especially doing it this many games in a row, they're going to be watching him. I didn't notice any of it tonight. Now that being said, I had to listen to some of the game, but.
See, what I think is the fact that he got a talking to from the ref and they never called a penalty on it leads me to believe that there was some sort of middle ground between, yes, we understand that maybe the net's not staying on the way it should, so stop hitting it so hard. Like, I think there was kind of like a yes and there, because they would have given a penalty if it was like, hey, dude, like, there's nothing wrong with the net, you're hitting it off. But I think the refs understood, like, okay, this is not normal, but you're also pushing it at the same time. So stop doing that, or we're going to call you for this.
Maybe it might be
With
like
that-
Kadri all over again. Oh, sorry for interrupting.
Oh, no. Sorry,
No.
say that again.
Maybe it might be like Kadri all over again, where the refs caught on to all the calls he was getting.
Yeah, but like, I think the thing that everybody was saying was, why didn't he get called in the Minnesota game? Like, why did he get let off with it? But I mean, that's the only explanation I can come up with, is there was some, like, the refs did see that there was something wrong with it. But yeah, you're right, he was selling it. But look, we saw Matthews skate into the thing like right into the crossbar, face first, and it knocked his teeth out. Like sometimes this thing can take literally if someone's skating into it and it doesn't move. And other times, you tap it with your foot, trying to make a save, or, your foot gets caught in the net of it and comes off. So I don't know.
You also got to think of where it's hitting it. Like when Matthews skated into it, for example, it was basically dead center of the crossbar right at the top.
That's true.
So I'm not like I've never taken physics or anything like that. But if you think when it hits there, it's going to kind of apply the pressure towards the back of the net. Whereas as Murray's coming across, he's got his entire frame and the momentum just on his skate blade or his pad hitting that post. Now, the style a lot of goalies play now, called the reverse VH, is where you're going to have that leg that's against the post vertical instead of horizontal. So then it's putting that much more pressure on the post when you're sliding over and you're trying to stop and get into that position, right? So it's a very fine line. But hey, I'm used to stuff like this not going our way, like I've said in some other things lately. So I'm personally not going to complain too much. Just he should kind of be careful.
Well, I think that's why Twitter is so vocal about this, because things never go the Leafs' way and everyone's usually laughing at us. And now it's like, haha, we got some calls. And everyone's like, hey, no, doesn't work that way.
The war room's in Toronto.
We can win the Stanley Cup and people will still complain.
Yeah. Yep, they'll pull up some call that was reviewed in the finals, and why did it go to Toronto? It should go somewhere else while they're playing in the finals.
Oh, and the net came off.
Yep, Murray knocked it off again. Okay, so this is a special Belief or Disbelief episode because obviously, Mikey, you host the BeLeafer pod.
I do. Going into this, it's taken years, like on and off, listening to podcasts. A lot of coworkers pressuring me into it, and now that I've done it for about a year now, it's awesome. I love this podcast, and what I try to bring to it is I try to bring a more positive look at the team as Twitter crumbles.
Yeah, and I think we need a positive voice. There's a couple of you out there that keep things positive, and I mean we try to as well. But I think what we can do with the amount of people we have is some healthy discussions. When some of us start to, Darty and I, get a little negative, the others can bring us back, and it's nice. So with that, let's go into another one.
No, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Okay, so belief or disbelief. On the topic of goalies, do we think Matt Murray is going to remain the starter after Ilya Samsonov comes off injury, or do we think there's a battle here? Belief or disbelief, Matt Murray is the starter for the remainder of the season. Mikey, start us off.
I want to believe it because going into this season, before Matt Murray went out with injury, his story, like him and his dad watching the Leafs as he was growing up, I'm like, this guy is so easy to cheer for, and it's a bummer about saying goodbye to Jack Campbell and all that. But with the card that we were dealt and we got Matt Murray out of it, I want to believe it. And he's looked good since coming back from injury, where none of us knew what he was going to look like.
And I think we were all a little traumatized after the Mrazek experiment last year, where he got hurt and then he never got healthy again. He played like a total of 8 periods. It was insane. And then there were stretches where he had to be the starter, but for the first 4 months, it was like he'd get hurt and then he'd come back and then he'd get hurt again, and then so I think we were all just ready to be hurt again collectively. Biehner, what do you think? I'm
going to go disbelief. Not that I have anything against.
How dare you?
Coming into the season, I was very vocal. I was one of the only ones on our podcast that was pro Murray. Pretty much throughout the entire offseason and preseason. But not only does Samsonov have a lot more to play for because he doesn't have a contract right now, he's RFA at the end of the year, but I think head office and the coaching staff is going to be very, very careful of trying to, let's use a Raptors term, and load manage. Because I would rather both these guys be rested just in case one of them gets injured down the stretch, rather than say ride Murray and have him play, 80% of the games, and come playoff time, he gets hurt. Sammy hasn't played as much, right? If you go a 1A, 1B, I think it'll be fine, because the playoff series, the last handful of years, you never know what you're going to run into, and you're going to need both goalies.
Fair enough. I think it rides on how Samsonov returns from this injury. If they want to, keep him rested for a while, and that means that Murray's playing the next, 75% of the games for the next month or so. Or, if Sammy comes back next week, then I think we could see them start sharing the load a little more, just because, Murray's just come off an injury too. So just to kind of protect them both. But yeah, it's tough because we don't really ever know the extent of the injuries that these guys have. They keep things quiet. So we'll see. We'll see how everybody returns to health. I am going to say that I believe it, because I just think that Murray he's got the cups, he's got the experience. Not that like you said, Sammy is playing for a contract and also has the same upside and has shown it in the games he's played. I just think that I don't know. Keefe seems to be somebody that's going to ride on what's working. So moving on, let's talk about tonight's game. Leafs take on the Detroit Red Wings. The Red Wings, they mentioned this on the broadcast. They have a habit of, when they lose really bad. The Leafs scored 4 goals on 14 or 16 shots. It was
two goals on 2 shots in 50 seconds.
I think it was 3 goals on 6 shots or something. They were just hammering them in from the beginning. They got Ville Husso pulled. Ouch. I mean, that doesn't happen much to him, but this is the thing, is whenever Detroit loses, they lose bad. They said they've got 31 goals against in their last 5 losses. Ouch.
Oof.
Yeah, and you have people on Twitter saying things along, I'm not going to give his Twitter handle or his name a call out, but saying things like, the Leafs coming to Detroit to see a proper rebuild and shit like that. And it's the Leafs have won, I want to say, the last 6-7 games against the Red Wings.
Yeah, and they said that on the broadcast.
And scored something like 20 goals in the last 3 games against them, I think, total. That's crazy.
Bunting played 2 games in Detroit last year and had 11 points.
That one game is
I'm
just
surprised the score wasn't closer to 10-7.
Honestly, I thought the Leafs were going to score more than 4, but they kind of started to play defensively, which I like to see, instead of getting sloppy like they did last time and just fuck it, let's score 8. I don't care if we let in 5. They wanted to at least, show that they can manage a game once they get a lead, which was mature of them. It was a step in the right direction. A game that Mr. Don Cherry would have liked more than the, 10-7 game or 11-9 or whatever the hell that game ended up.
I'm pretty sure it was 10-7 because it was 10-2 at one point, and then Detroit had to come back.
Yeah, I remember I think it was 7-2 or something, and then they started coming back, and then the Leafs scored a couple to make it 10. Yeah, I think you're right. That was a silly game. But yeah, when Nedeljkovic came in, I was like, let's just light him up. But he managed to play pretty well. So kudos to Nedeljkovic for holding on and at least giving Detroit a chance to try to come back. But yeah.
I think Ned, so when he was on Carolina, he was a very promising young goalie. He was legitimately in the conversation for the Calder Trophy. And when Detroit got him, I honestly kind of thought that maybe Stevie Y pulled a fast one. Part of me still thinks that at some point he might have, because Nedeljkovic has flashes. He's a good young goalie. It just shows the complete ridiculous difference between the team play structures and defensive styles between Carolina and Detroit.
That's okay. Carolina ate it on the Jesperi Kotkaniemi deal, because I think they're regretting that whole situation now.
Yeah. They took that one a little too far.
No kidding. That one got a little emotional. What's that?
It looks like Hyman just scored. I got the Oilers game on right now. It looks like he just scored.
Nice.
Yeah. What's
the score right now? I've got a couple fantasy.
It's 1-1.
Okay.
Between them and Florida.
All right. So Moritz Seider opened the scoring tonight. about just under 5 minutes in, with a shot from pretty far outside. That was an unfortunate one. And, I mean, giving up a goal early on, especially against a team like the Red Wings, not fun. Kind of getting back to the old ways of the first couple of games, fighting back. But I don't think it shook them the same way that it had in the early games. They managed to score 2 more before the end of the period, and really quick, too. So got to give kudos to the team on that.
And beautiful goals, too. They were both
No kidding.
A vintage Matthews goal, and then just a work of art from Nylander.
Yeah, I only managed to see the replays of these ones. I was watching the game on my phone at work.
Oof. I know the feeling.
I know. It's fun, though, because we get all the Leaf fans kind of crowd around. They're like, what's the score?
I
mean, I'm not distracting people at work if anybody's listening to this.
I didn't hear a thing.
No. So the fact that Matthews, Nylander, and Mitch Marner all scored tonight, it's like, this is, what did we say? When the top line clicks, they're probably going to win. This is it.
They were one away from the core 4 scoring a hat trick.
What was Dubas's line? We can and we will.
Yeah.
There you go. The goal that I want to talk about, though, was the Sandmans. Because there was a little bit of a question of whether this one went off somebody, eh? Did you see this? So this is the one that they thought Bunting might have tipped. They looked at it a few times. So
that was...
Yeah, so Sandin shot this one, and it was in the air, and it looks like Bunting goes to tip it. And this is what bugs me, is why would you go to do this if it's a high stick? Like, if you have to reach up to try to tip the puck, don't do that. It's not going to count.
It looks like it just barely skims by.
I know.
Sorry.
No, it's all good, Mike. Like 9 times out of 10, if you're going for the tip anyways, you're going to be coming, like, starting up and coming down into it. So I don't think you would even think about it, right? Because in your head, by the time I hit it, I'm going to be back down. Because you don't ever. Oh, I was just going to say, you don't ever see someone just lift the stick up and tip it unless they're stopping, like almost like they're going to bunt it.
And it's coming from the ground, right? So it's coming up. So you're assuming that it's not going to go that high, and it kept going up. But he didn't tip it, and it still went in. Like, I don't know. I feel like if you slowed this down and they had better cameras, I think he might have touched this one, honestly. Because it's the puck is doing that floppy, like something touched it. Are you watching the replay?
Yeah, sorry, I'm watching it again right now. I was watching this part of the game.
Not that I'm like hoping a goal gets called back, but like just on the trend of the Leafs winning these situations lately, when this has historically been always against the Leafs. Like,
and
whether
they've been winning convincingly too.
Yeah.
I don't think he touched it. Sorry, Mike. Just like watching it again there, now that I can actually come right up close to seeing it, as it's leaving Sandman's stick, it's already wobbling and flopping in the air, and the trajectory stays the same. So, like, it doesn't change trajectory; it just keeps flopping, and then he just misses it with his glove.
It's just, what's crazy is that the question is whether it hit Bunting's stick when it was up, but the puck would have kept going up theoretically on that trajectory and gone over the net, but it went in. Like, if it was high enough that it would have been a high stick, then it wasn't going into the net.
If it didn't hit his stick, it wouldn't have gone up and gone over because of the way it was flopping, because that would just completely mess with all the momentum, right?
What a weird shot. Okay.
What a wonderful sport we all love.
I know, right? Honestly, after watching one game of the World Cup, sorry, Canada, that was a rough one. Congrats for scoring the first goal.
R.I.P. Canada.
Yeah, first goal and first goal ever. Congrats, Alphonso Davies. But yeah, game didn't go their way after that. But after watching a game where things are decided so quickly and the ball is so big and it's easy to see where it goes and when it's onside or offside. Literally, there was a call where they're like, who was it? Czech Republic. No, is that what they were playing?
Croatia.
Croatia. Fuck, thank you. So Croatia scored a goal, and it was challenged for offside immediately. They go to this like weird 3D rendering view of like a wall, and keep in mind, the offside line in soccer is not static. It is dynamic. It moves around. It's not a blue line. It's wherever the last defender is. So they're able to put a line up, and they can render in where the players were, and they just like show, oh, this guy is like front half of his body was offside. He is about a foot offside. Yeah, that's no goal. They did this whole thing like from the call on the field being no goal to showing the review on camera to going back to the game in like 40 seconds. And I'm like, what? This... Okay.
And it takes us
Why can't
5
we do this?
minutes to decide anything. 5 minutes if we're lucky to decide anything in the NHL.
Why do they have such low quality cameras to check these things? Why don't they have the ability to do this? Like, here, there's just a line. Was the player over it or not? Like, you can just put an invisible wall up and you can see what's not there because you block out everything that's on the other side of the blue line. Like, it can be cut and dry.
I'm not sure, because it's the same with tennis, right? The VAR in tennis is ridiculously accurate and stupid fast.
Yeah.
So I don't know why hockey's so far behind in it.
But no, I mean, to bring it back, it's not that they can do something like this for a high stick, but I think the point is that it's so hard to make these calls in hockey. Like, we love such a dumb random game, and I love it.
It's an adrenaline rush every game.
Yeah, because I think, I mean, it's been said about hockey that it's the most, how do I put this? Like, the best chance of the worst team winning against the best team than any other sport, any other major sport. Like, you could have, I mean, look, Arizona beats Toronto all the time, but if you put, like, the worst team in football up against the best team in football, there's no way they're going to win. Like, it just doesn't happen in any other sport. I mean, sometimes in basketball, but not as much. So, anything... we got a too many men on the ice penalty, of course. I just have to point that out every time it happens.
The world is back.
Yeah, that feels like another Leaf game.
Right?
The sky is still blue.
Nature is healing. The Leafs got too many men on the ice. But they were kind of saved by Sundqvist. Here, I'm trying to, because I was thinking about what we're going to talk about on the way home. This is a good one to talk about. Mitch Marner, was he or was he not tripped by Oscar Sundqvist? I think he sold this one a little bit. He was getting in Tim Stützle area.
I don't know if I'd say Stützle.
It
was maybe a little too far. It was definitely... He went down easier than you would expect, but at the same time, he was tired. It was a penalty kill. So... I
mean, Larkin was pissed about it.
Well, yeah, he's playing on a garbage team.
Oh, man. Okay. I mean, honestly, I want to find more to talk about this game, but, like, the Leafs were clicking. The top line is great. Austin Matthews has found his scoring touch again. William Nylander is continuing to be fantastic. He's got 13 goals. Tavares has 14 assists. Like, these
even
guys
when
all
the
have
Leafs
over
were
20
shit in
points.
October, Tavares was like the one thing to believe in, at least game in and game out.
Yeah, and they've all got over 20 points now, right? Yeah. That's crazy.
Matthews now at 11 goals.
Mm-hmm.
The whole team has just been playing really great over the last little while. It's been really nice to see.
They are 10-1-3 in this month.
Oh my god! Of course they are. After a horrible October, when we're talking about trading people, they're like, "All right, fine."
We
just wanted to test you guys, saying that the regular season doesn't matter, and we'll see how long you guys can take it. Oh, what's that? Like 8 games? Great.
I want to look up the stats because, like, from what I had heard, November of last year was the Leafs' most winningest month in their franchise history, which is it's crazy to believe. It feels like they're on par to break it. If anything, I just want to look at the overtimes, but I feel like we only had 2 losses that November, if I remember correctly.
I think you're right. I'm looking at Biehner for this one. I don't remember.
It's pretty close, but I think with our overtime losses, I think we're just behind it.
Yeah, they left like 3-4 points on the table there with those overtimes. Man, that was a pain. Like, it's one of those things. I know I keep talking about this, but if you're new here, fine. It's the first time you're hearing it. How about that? Was it last year? The Blue Jays missed the postseason by literally the equivalent of was it half a game? It was a game or half a game, which like in the NHL would work out to be like, I don't know, 2 or 3 points. So those things matter at the end of the season. So don't fuck it up in October. Blah, blah, blah. That's all. The one thing that
And I thought I was drunk.
This is okay. You can see I'm wearing all black because I just got home from work on set. My coat is literally still behind me. I have been working since, I don't know, 9 this morning. So yeah, I'm a little tired.
Looks like we went 12-2 last November.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that. But Victor Mete was in tonight instead of Connor Timmins. You want to talk about that, Biehner, because you have a better explanation than Mikey or I do about waivers.
So yeah, it was a little eyebrow raising seeing him, according to Cap Friendly, go down to the Marlies. But it's more of a paper transaction, kind of like, when was it, back in the bubble year when they were doing that to Sandine all the time? Basically, Mete started the year with the Marlies and was called up. So he's had roughly 22 days as a roster, like an emergency or injury call-up, however you want to word it. Once you hit 30 days as a call-up or 10 games played, and he's only at 8, then you would require waivers to go back down.
Okay.
So I wouldn't be surprised even if they, on paper, sent him back down tomorrow.
Man, it's like Dubas caught on to the fact that nobody is safe on waivers. If there's anybody that's worth something, they are going to get claimed. And if there's anybody that he wants to be claimed, no one's going to take them. Everybody has the Leafs' entire playbook. So for some reason, it's like no one is paying attention to any other team on Cap Friendly except the Leafs. Everyone has it memorized. So whenever they make a transaction, they're like, nice
Everyone's
try.
got it bookmarked.
Yeah. They've got players on their watch list, and the rest of them are like, nope, that would be helping you. Nice try, Kyle.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Bettman has a group chat that, the Leafs put someone on waivers and he messages everybody, hey, you got to take them. We got to take away any advantage they have.
Oh, man. Fucking man. Okay.
God damn it.
God damn it. Okay, so I want to go to some questions here. I apologize, everybody listening. When we did our last episode, and we were like, how come we're at like 50 minutes and we feel like we've run out of stuff to do, and we're like trying to find something to talk about, and then we just ended. And as soon as I hit end, I was like, oh shit, we didn't do questions. I'm sorry, everybody who sent in questions. We didn't get to you last time. We're going to do that this time. We have a question from the Canadalorian, the Canadalorian. It's like Mandalorian, but Canada. Canadalorian.
Oh, that's nice, eh, bud?
Right? It's got like his profile pictures like the...
You almost had it the other Roscoe.
The Mandalorian head, but it's red and white. No, because it's funny. I almost got through it, and then I pictured like a scene from The Mandalorian where he's like got, just carrying the young one here, eh? And they're like,
oh, we're gonna stop for Tim's, eh, bud?
Protecting the youngling here, eh? Oh man. So Canadalorian asks, should Keith be in the Jack Adams conversation?
Absolutely. So this kind of irks me sometimes because
go off.
Not only
what grinds your gears.
Not only
we had a name for it. Beans. We got something your beans.
boils my beans or burns my beans or something.
Boils your beans.
I don't know. I don't cook beans. I don't like eating them. So
You're stuck with it.
this episode's going off the rails quick.
I love it. What boils your beans?
So, like, a coach.
I joined in one
team,
episode and it's off the rails.
a coach who is coaching a good team or a team that's doing well, unless they're like the Devils say, where they're shit last year and they're doing great this year, they don't get any recognition. Like, how the hell has John Cooper not won the Jack Adams yet? Seriously. I know Tampa has gone through and they've quote unquote cheated in years past. And yes, they have great players, but just ask Scotty Bowman, who coached the Red Wings dynasty, who coached the Habs dynasty of the 70s. You may think it's easy to coach a team full of superstars. It wouldn't be. You got to keep everybody happy, make sure they're all happy with their ice time, their power play time, their line mates, everything like that. There's a lot more to it than just opening the gate and say, hey, go. Like,
yeah,
Cooper
I mean, we've talked
get-
about it with Keefe a lot. Like, how do you coach guys that think they're uncoachable? They're like, I'm better than you. Like, Sheldon, you didn't even make it a couple years in the NHL on the fucking Tampa Bay Lightning. Why should I listen to you? I can score 60 goals. Like that, there is a mentality. I'm not saying that these guys are like disrespectful to coaches like that, but like there is a mentality of like, how do you coach superstars? Sorry, go on.
I absolutely. And coaches that are coaching teams like that do not get enough credit. The Maple Leafs have a very long history. A lot of it has been dark, but they do have some very good times in there. And we've had some Hall of Fame coaches. And Keefe has the best record, like the best winning percentage of any of the coaches we've had. Like, we've had Pat Quinn, we've had Pat Burns, we've had coaches who have won the Jack Adams. Like, it's Punch Imlach back in the 60s. Like, if you want to go way back now, his general managing skills were a little shoddy, but coaching-wise, he was great. Like, it never gets, and I don't know if it's the Toronto media always putting a negative spin on everything as to why he hasn't gotten any recognition lately, and you can't even say playoffs and like take that into effect because it's supposed to be a regular season award. Like, it's not as easy as everybody thinks it is, and they've been defensively, they've been one of the better teams in the league since he's been in. Just look at Campbell. Campbell was an all-star on the Leafs, and he goes to Edmonton, who everybody thought had a better defense than Toronto does, and he's sub 900.
Oh, but Evander Kane's better than Austin Matthews. That's why. So, yeah.
At gambling, maybe.
I read that. I just had to
Need
check.
some
So
ice
it's,
for that bird.
it's the Broadcasters Association that votes for the Jack Adams Award. For reference, if anybody did not know who it is, because it's different people that vote for the different ones. I was wondering if it was, GMs or media or yeah. So I personally think that the ones that are going to be in the Jack Adams running are going to be like your Dave Haxtell and your Lindy Ruff and like, because they tend to just give it to you turned a shit team into a decent team. And like Seattle Kraken are in second in their division right now, and they should not be good.
I can't remember the name, but would Boston's coach be in there? Just because I swear every podcast I keep up with had, even myself, I put Boston out of a playoffs box. I'm like, no, this is they're done. And they're eating crow. They're top of the fucking league.
Jim Montgomery is currently the coach of the Bruins. And yeah, honestly, I thought the same thing. I didn't think they were going to be anywhere this year. Close to a playoff spot, or at least like fighting for the wild card, just with the age of all those guys. And man, the fact that they're still able to pull it together, I think that says more about like the whole culture and system that they have there, and the fact that it's the same guys that know how to play together. It's like, but then again, it brings it back to like, how do you coach that? Like, how does Jim Montgomery as the new guy essentially step in with Patrice Bergeron and company and say, all right, we're going to do this. And they're like, okay, Jim, we've been here much longer than you. So
that being said, there clearly is a big difference because the Cassidy had lost the room. Look at DeBrusk. DeBrusk was asking for a trade, and Cassidy's gone now, and everything's all hunky dory. He's still on the team. Pasternak's doing great. DeBrusk's doing great. I think at the end of the year, assuming everything kind of stays and plays out the way it's looking like it's going to play out now, I think you're right. Hackstall will be in there. Lindy Ruff will be in there. And then it's probably going to be a toss-up between Montgomery and Cassidy. Because even Cassidy going to Vegas, they didn't make the playoffs last year. And they're on fire this year without their starting goalie.
Isn't it funny how we can say, well, Cassidy lost the Bruins, goes over to Vegas, and is back in the running for the Jack Adams? Like, what a weird league this is. Like, it's so much about the synergy between them, right?
Well, that's
to
like
say it
Pete
again,
DeBoer as well.
what a silly sport we all live.
But like, look at Pete DeBoer. He was in New Jersey, took the Devils to the Cup final, I believe, in his first year. Lasted there 2 or 3 years. Went to San Jose, took San Jose to the Cup final. Lasted there a couple years. Went to Vegas, took them to the conference final. Lasted there a couple years. And then now he's in Dallas, and Dallas is doing great. Like, some coaches just have that the first couple of years, they go off. Peter Laviolette was like that for a while, and then he's kind of toned it down lately. But
so to bring it all the way back to Nat DeLorean's question about should Sheldon Keefe be in Jack Adams conversation, yeah, but just I guess the conclusion we've come to is he probably won't be, just because of the way that this voting usually works and what we've come to expect in the history and everything. If he was, it would be nice, and we think he deserves to. I think that's it. Our next question comes from
should but won't.
Somebody new. This is at TML Fan in Van.
Oh, never heard of him.
Goes by Run It Back. Thanks, Marty. Is Matt Murray elite? So this is kind of a callback to, at least I think, the fact that for a long time, a certain person on this podcast liked to say that Jack Campbell was elite. And we kind of hopped on the Jack Campbell's elite train, I'd say around this time last year. So based on the performance, I mean, I'm not going to go all that way, especially because we've seen, I think, Eric Shalgren play more games than we've seen either Samsonov or Murray play at this point. So I hope so. I mean, I like what I see. Some of the net front rebound control could use some work, and the scrambles in front of the net have been a little. That's where some of the bad ones have been given up. Other than that, he's made some fantastic saves on high danger shots. His reflexes are good. I think it's just that control when he's down in front of the net that could use some work. Otherwise, I think he's great. Mikey, what do you think of what you've seen so far?
Going into this season, I really wanted to believe in our goalies, and now that we've gotten to see both of them, not in the way that we had all hoped, it's nice to see that we have consistency from both of our goalies. We just have to believe that they can stay healthy at the same time now.
Yeah, that's the trouble. I mean, we showed last year that as long as somebody's healthy and can be in the net, they'll be okay. But we kind of pushed the envelope on how far we can go with as long as there's someone in the net, because we almost got to the end of that list.
Well, starting to push it.
Oh, definitely. Shalgren's played 10 games, Murray 6, and Samsonov 8.
That was right.
So Murray, yes, he's only played 6 games. He's still in the top 15 in the league for goals saved above expected. So it's not like he's it's not like he's playing horrible. Yeah, he's been a little rusty. Yeah, his rebounds have been kind of iffy. And there was a couple of games, I think just the first game back, where I even questioned on the podcast afterwards, like, he's looking a little shaky up high. But every time you see something and it looks like, he kind of has to work on that, it seems like the next game he's fixed it. So this is still a guy who has played very little hockey over the last calendar year. And not only that, he's had tons of change, like the different media for going from the lowly Senators to the Leafs, a team that doesn't know what defense is in the Senators, to a team that's one of the best defensive teams in the league, despite what TSN says. Like, it's, I'm gonna follow Marty there, and I'm gonna say he's elite.
I mean, Matt Murray saved 42 of 44 shots tonight. I didn't realize the shot clock got that high. I knew it was at like 30-something when the Leafs were still trying to crack 20. Man, the Red Wings got a lot of shots off tonight.
They beat the Red Wings had it felt like watching the broadcast. Every stat that came up, it looked like the Red Wings had our number at it, except for the scoreboard.
And except for blocks. Holy shit. Have you seen this counter? Red Wings had 5 shot blocks. The Leafs, 23. I have never seen them block that many. Zach Aston Reese with 3 blocks. Mitch Marner with 3. Austin Matthews with 5. Are you kidding? Liljegren with 3. Hall with 2. Hollowell with 2. Austin Matthews blocked 5 shots. Thank you, fantasy points, sir. That's something you block like 15 all season.
Also, Murray was a .925 coming out of tonight.
Oof, yeah. Oh, 955 I've got here.
Or 50. Yeah.
Wild. Huso with a 692 for all y'all fantasy holders of so tonight. Oh, that hurts. Wow. Okay, so go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, why would you why would you even risk picking up Huso for a game
I
tonight?
don't know, man. I lucked out. I picked up Shalgren because I needed one more goalie start over the weekend, and I picked him up for the back-to-back, and he won, so I was quite happy about that one. Quite. There were... Okay, I'm forgetting. There was something that we wanted to talk about before we started on here. I had another topic.
Well, you were doing questions.
Yeah, those are all the questions we have from Twitter here. Let me just check Discord. Oh, we did have one on Discord, actually. We had a good one. Hold on. This one is from Scott. This was from before the game at 4:15. Scott on Discord asks, with the Leafs defense banged up and generally on the smaller size, could they be helped by trading for Ilya Lyubushkin? Falling out of favor in Buffalo, he likely would be cheap, and the Sabres may pay a good portion of his salary. He played well for Toronto and was good in the playoffs from Game 4 on. Go, Leafs, go.
I'm good. I'm good without him.
I think we've kind of filled that slot with Jordy Ben. Hopefully he comes back soon. Did we have an update on his injury? I've missed if there's been anything said on that.
I haven't really seen anything.
Yeah, see, that's what I think they're keeping that
and
one
it felt
quiet.
like he just came back, too.
There's nothing on it. So, I mean, I think between him and, I don't know, Mete. Who else? Justin Hall's kind of finding that too. Like,
he's been getting better. It's funny because I said it on TheBeLeafers just earlier this year that as much as I try to love this entire roster, Hall has looked cartoonishly bad. Falling over his own skates, bumping into his own teammates. But he looks like he's tightened up his game and even tried to put one behind the net tonight, which was nice to see.
Yeah, and he's consistently been playing the most minutes every night. I mean, yeah, he came out of tonight a -1, unfortunately. But, yeah.
Trade him.
But look, he's, like I said, he's playing the most minutes while these guys are hurt. You can't expect rookies, Liljegren and Sandin to do that, and 39-year-old Giordano, and then actual rookie Hollowell. Like, there's nobody else that can play these minutes right now. So Justin Hall is the next in line to step up to this slot. As whether you like it or not, he's there. And honestly, he's been playing well in the role. Another one I want to shout out tonight. Here, you know what? Let's do one of these.
I'm feeling pretty good. Pretty good.
Let's finish this off with a pretty good tonight. I got to give mine just based off of one clip that I saw while I was watching. Pierre Engvall is using his size again, ladies and gentlemen. He forced a turnover by hitting somebody and got the puck, and that was fantastic. I have to just give a little giraffe noise for my favorite big man who's finally getting back on his game.
It would have been nice to see him score a goal because I had picked him for the Tim Hortons pick a player today.
Why would you do that?
Wanted to believe.
What were your other options? The dude has until he starts scoring. Until he starts scoring, he's not.
I was hoping he would have started tonight.
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't bank on it honestly until he's got one. Then it's like, okay, now he's going to start going. Does he have one this season? Even
I think he at least has one. Yeah.
He's got a couple.
He's got two.
I got Connor McDavid, which that was the safe bet.
Yeah.
Pierre Engvall and Dougie Hamilton.
Okay. That's fair. Who do you think was pretty good tonight?
I'm gonna say Nylander. Just I really liked his power play goal, and I've loved what he's brought to the team this year, like the confidence and the drive that he has. Even throughout October, where the Leafs were Tavares and Nylander were two of our shining spots, and I'm going to give this one to Nylander.
10 of Nylander's 25 points have been on the power play. Honestly, I can confidently guess when the Leafs are going on the power play, if someone's going to score on it, it's probably going to be Nylander. He's got 5 of his 13 goals have come on the power play. It's like when things aren't clicking there, he's the only one that stays on. It's like we talked about all the time. He's the one that can stay cool. He's unaffected by the emotions and the head games that seem to get into the others sometimes. He just kind of does his thing no matter what's going on. And I think the power play is where that's the most helpful, because I think it's the most hot and cold and the most with how those guys are, because it's putting the 4 of them together. So, they live or die by how well they're playing. And I think Nylander has consistently been the one that's been keeping it up on there. So good for him.
That Swedish AI technology is crazy because he's just been a robot out there.
Well, what's that Sonnet insurance commercial? They got some stick for him or something.
Particle accelerator stick, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Gilmore's got a puck in his head.
That's a good one. Oh, actually, speaking of Gilmore, did you see the OVO Leafs release?
I want a hat. They look gorgeous. I'm probably not going to get one because I don't have much more room for hats, but the hats look nice.
So if anybody missed it, I think it comes out. Oh, it came out today. The OVO X Leafs line that was modeled by Curtis Joseph and Dougie Gilmore.
Dougie G.
Pretty sick. So, Biehner, what about you? Who was pretty good tonight?
I'm actually going to go for the Thanksgiving weekend, the whole weekend, Mikey Bunce.
Ooh, baby.
I don't know what's got into him, but Bunting's been – I think he's been great over the last 3 games. He's had a couple gorgeous assists, and he's being typical Bunting, the Bunting that we saw all last year that we all fell in love with. Getting under people's skin, yelling, obscenities at the refs over phantom hooking calls.
The assist he got on Matthews' goal against the Penguins was that feels like what a Michael Bunting assist should be.
That was absolutely beautiful. That alone deserves it, and that wasn't even this game. And I don't know if you guys saw the video of them skating off the ice. I don't know if it was in Minnesota or Pittsburgh. When Giordano is just stepping off the ice and Bunting's coming up behind him. Giordano! Yeah. Someone just caught him with his phone.
He's our lovable fucking rat.
Yeah. One of the media guys interviewed... one of the media guys interviewed Gio about it. And Gio's like, I don't really even think anything of it. The guy literally never stops talking.
Oh, my God. Oh shit! I forgot what I was going to say. Actually, it's okay. I had
Roscoe.
something. There was something there. I don't know. It's gone. It's okay.
It'll come back.
Yeah, it'll come back. Your 3 stars of the night: Austin Matthews, Matt Murray, and Moritz Seider. Mo Seider. Like that.
Feels right. Feels good.
Feels good to see Austin Matthews with the first star. Like we said, nature's healing.
Speaking of Matthews, why in the hell is everybody so concerned about him? Like, I tweeted out this, when was it, last game? Like, everybody's saying, oh, something's got to be wrong with him. Something's got to be wrong with him. What if this is his Yzerman year? Like, all summer, when people were blowing up for the team, I kept, and not only me, other people did it too. Basically, your house is falling apart there, Roscoe.
No, people come home at every hour of the night and slam the fucking door. This is why I'm moving on the weekend.
Anyways, that Red Wings team of the early 90s, or well, really the entire 90s, they were so promising and so good for so long, and then they couldn't get over the hurdle. They kept constantly either getting bad eliminations in the playoffs or just choking altogether. They couldn't do it. Everybody constantly wanted to blow the team up, and it never did. And they kept it together, and they won. When Yzerman came in the league, he was one of the best goal scorers in the league. He was putting up 100-point seasons all the time. And there was a shift that it wasn't about him. It wasn't about scoring. He wanted to win. And even though Matthews isn't the captain, I kind of think this might be what we're seeing happen this year. Like last year, he had 67 hits in the entire year in 73 games. He's already at 42.
Yeah, it has to be 67.
That.
Oh, yeah, it had to be 67 last year. But like,
it always has to be 67.
He's legitimately been in the Selke conversation for best defensive forward because he's that good defensively. And he's still out there winning Rocket Richard trophies and Hart trophies for being the best player in the league. Like, at this point, the only thing he doesn't have is playoff success. So I get it. They've interviewed him before, and he has come out and said, none of that stuff matters to me. 40, 50, 60, 70 goals, whatever. It doesn't matter. He just wants to win. And I believe it. Not that any pro athlete is going to say anything other than they want to win. But you've seen, as he's come along year and like as the years go by, you've seen him add extra defensive aspects to his game on top of being one of the best offensive threats in the league. And I think this is just all of that culminating together, because even when he has the puck and he has a good chance, he doesn't care about scoring it right now. He's actually giving up an opportunity, even though he could be the goalie. There's no goalie in this league he can't beat one-on-one with a shot. He's proven that. And he's passing it to his teammates because, there might be a 2% better chance that they can score it than him because they're in a better position, because he's focused on the end game. And everybody's complaining, saying that he's not himself. He's not himself. Like, his expected goals per 60 minutes played, he's still over 1.5. Like, if you expect him to play 60 minutes and he's still expecting to get a goal and a half a game, like that's
this
ridiculous.
Man is inhuman.
Yeah,
and,
so everybody needs
I've been
to
hearing
lay
he's
off
been
him
playing
for a minute.
injured. He doesn't look injured.
No.
He wouldn't be throwing, like we said with the hits, he wouldn't be throwing his body around like that and battling the way he has been and fighting through being triple teamed to try to get shots off if he was hurt. It's just, it's not easy to break through the kind of defending you get when you're a superstar. Like,
Absolutely.
Anyway, the thing that I wanted to say before, I remember, there was a little funny clip I saw from that Pittsburgh game of Sid the aging kid, Sid the angry kid. Sid the slamming the door and
you could see the steam coming out of his ears.
Holy shit, was he ever mad?
Did you see that line change, though? Like, that line change.
He got off
brutal.
the ice without a care in the world.
Yeah, that's like something a guy on my beer league team would do if you don't pass him the puck.
Yeah, it looked like that time when it was like 2 years ago when Tampa had like 10 players on the ice at once because their line change was so sloppy, where it was like the whole line jumped off before the other one even came off. Like, it was just like a whole line came off and another line didn't come out. It was like, what just happened?
But it's so uncharacteristic of Sid when the puck is on his side of the ice, not even cleared of the neutral zone, and he just, stands up straight and slowly skates over to the bench. Like, did he think he heard a whistle?
I don't know if he heard
weird.
someone call him off, like someone was waving him over, that someone was jumping off and then they didn't. I don't know, but he looked so mad. Oh my God.
Well, then I think he either hurt himself or messed up his skate afterwards, because even the broadcast was talking about it when he was coming out for face-offs afterwards. Normally he has a pretty wide stance, right? And he's low to the ground for a low center of gravity to try to win that face-off. He was pretty vertical for most of his face-offs the rest of the night.
Oh, he hurt himself. And what if that's like, it's like McDavid trying to get in a fight and missing and punching the wall. It's like these guys that shouldn't be fighting and shouldn't be getting angry, and they just lose their temper and hurt themselves. Poor guy. Oh, okay. That's our hour tonight. Mikey D, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you guys for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, this is a great one. Tell the people, where they can find you and what you're all about here on the BeLeafer Pod.
Okay, so I'm on Twitter and Instagram at MikeyD_392. I made it easier so that way you can find me easy on both. And then the show, I need to be more active on both Twitter and Instagram, but it's at BeLeafers Pod. Going into this year, because I live a lot closer to work, I'm trying to stick to a weekly schedule for the BeLeafers. So there's a new episode every Saturday.
Nice. And they can find you anywhere? Are you podcast platforms?
Yeah, on everything, on Spotify, Google, Apple. If anywhere you turn a corner and you're gonna see a reason to believe.
I love that. Thank you for bringing some positivity. Biehner, anything hockey history you want to end with tonight? I know there were some original 6 clips they showed.
The only thing that really jumped out that probably wouldn't be super important to a lot of people, but with me being such a goalie fanatic, on this day back in 1925, Montreal Canadiens goaltender George Vezina collapses on the ice and would end up passing away 4 months later due to tuberculosis. So he, as everybody,
did not know that.
Yep, everybody knows the Vezina Trophy for the best goaltender of that season, and it's named after him. He was a very, very talented goaltender for the Montreal Canadiens in the 20s, well, late teens, early 20s, and yeah, he ended up collapsing on the ice and passed away 4 months later.
Jeez.
Pour one for a fallen homie.
I've got nothing to drink here, but I will.
That was Newfoundland Screech rum, so my chest is on fire.
Boy.
I do got a quick story if it's okay to share.
Hell yeah.
It is why Newfoundland Screech rum is my go-to drink. And what's cool is I have not even talked about this story on my podcast yet. This was about a decade and a bit ago. I went to Newfoundland for the March break. My grandparents, who were newly retired at the time, I was staying over at their place. We went to a family member's to celebrate my birthday, my great-grandfather's birthday, and I can't recall if it was an uncle or a nephew. It was someone. There was a third birthday. And my great-grandfather, he goes into the back room, and he comes out with a bottle of Newfoundland Screech rum, and I ask him if I could take a look at the bottle. He hands me the bottle. I see 45%. I'm like, shit, is this going to kill me? And the only thing that man told me, shut up and drink it. So now every time I just LC, I get the Screech and I shut up and drink it.
So I have to expand on this, or make you expand on it. So we have a lot of international listeners that love to learn about Canadian things. Can you explain what Newfoundland Screech whiskey is?
It's rum. It's strong shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's spicy. It goes good with Coke Zero.
So what's the whole, do you have like a brief summary of the whole screecher thing?
No, because like I know there's you got to recite some kind of passage, and if you screw up, you got to kiss a cod, and you got to do it consistently until you get it right, or something like that. But I don't want to kiss a fish, which is why I've never taken the chance. But I'll stick to the shots though.
So basically, the small province on the east coast of Canada likes to do a little thing to induct you into their little family out there by I guess I don't know much about it. Biehner, help me out. I'm dying here.
Like they call you come from a ways if you're not from Newfoundland, and then you can get screeched in to be an honorary Newfoundlander. So either drink some screech, kiss a cod, or there's a couple other little things. I have not been out to Newfoundland yet, so I definitely have not been screeched in. But definitely at some point has to be out there. And just as you were bringing that up, Roscoe, of how we have people from all over that listen and they like to hear things about Canada, it's like some of the topics we have covered on our country on this podcast, everybody must think we're just all drunk and crazies.
Oh, yeah, dude.
like
These
really.
things are so weird.
I hope I give off that impression.
Oh, we bring every piece of every corner of Canada to this show, I swear. I love it. Thank you all so much for joining us for another evening of Leafs Late Night. We will be back on Wednesday when the Leafs take on the San Jose Sharks, and we'll see if Mitch Marner makes it 18 in a row or not.
They're going to look sharp in the reverse retros.
Hell yeah, they will.
Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Leafs Late Night, your night of post-game podcast. Available after every game on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Audible, and more.
Oh, the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to win the Stanley Cup. Believe it, baby.